Hello, and welcome to Global Intelligence, weekly wrap-up for the week ending November 8, 2024. Today, we're unpacking several critical intelligence stories making waves in national and global security. In this episode, Neil provides insights from Canada's latest actions to combat foreign influence and protect national security, starting with the Canadian government's recent directive for TikTok to wind down its Canadian operations due to data concerns linked to China. We'll also dive into a story involving incendiary devices found in Europe, suspected to be part of a Russian sabotage plot targeting cargo flights to North America, a scenario that underscores growing threats to aviation security. And these are just a few of the stories you'll hear today. With Neil Bison's 25 years of experience in intelligence and national security, you'll gain insider perspectives on these critical developments, making sense of the forces shaping our world. So, sit back and join us as we delve into this week's top intelligence stories and their far-reaching implications for global security.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Global Intelligence Weekly Wrap-Up. I'm your host, Neil Bison. The world has changed this week as the United States elected Donald Trump as the president for a second time. This will have massive implications on everything from U.S. national security to global security to international geopolitics, and I will be diving into these aspects in upcoming episodes. But while the news of a new U.S. president is slowly digested by the world, let's look at the major stories that are affecting international intelligence and national security from around the globe. In our first story, we're diving into the pressing national security issue highlighted in a recent article titled CSIS Tracked Intelligence Flow Across Government and Foreign Interference Leak Probe. This story reveals how the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, CSIS, has been tracking the movement of its intelligence reports across government departments in response to leaks of classified information related to foreign interference. Let's explore how these leaks have impacted intelligence operations and the measures CSIS is taking to strengthen information security. According to the article, CSIS has been investigating the unauthorized leaks of classified information that began surfacing in late 2022. These leaks exposed intelligence concerning alleged foreign interference in Canadian elections, particularly focusing on suspected actions by China to influence outcomes. The investigation has led CSIS to scrutinize the flow of intelligence products within the government to identify vulnerabilities and how this information is managed and protected. From an intelligence perspective, this probe underscores a fundamental challenge, balancing dissemination of sensitive information and classified intelligence with the need to safeguard reporting that could expose national vulnerabilities. For CSIS, the leaks have been a serious setback, as they may have not only compromised counterintelligence operations, but also impacted trust in Canada's intelligence community, both domestically and among its international allies. The broader implications is a heightened focus on improving operational security, known as OPSEC in spy lingo. These measures are to protect information from being leaked or identified to ensure actions, methodologies, and sources from both domestic and international intelligence communities remain safe. This situation reflects a larger trend in which intelligence agencies worldwide face pressures related to information leaks. Unauthorized disclosures, like those involving Ed Snowden and Julian Assange, highlight how damaging these breaches can be, not only for the agencies involved, but also for their partners and operations. The recent leaks have forced the Canadian government to take a harder stance on foreign interference, with measures such as appointing a special rapporteur and initiating a public inquiry to restore public confidence in the electoral process. Additionally, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's acknowledgement of foreign interference as a significant threat illustrates how serious the government views these challenges. Yet, his comments at the recent inquiry also reveal the complexity of government responses, as he asserts that these leaks did not drive government's actions on interference but rather amplified an existing issue. However, it is unlikely the issue of foreign interference would have received such interest or traction within the federal government if the information wasn't leaked. Passing a Bill C-70 would likely have languished in bureaucracy much longer without the threat of foreign interference being front and center due to the media coverage of the leaked information. The article includes perspectives from CSIS and statements from CSIS's internal security leadership. They have emphasized that, while the investigation is ongoing, it has already improved safeguards for handling classified intelligence in the future. CSIS's Director General of Internal Security highlighted the danger of leaks noting that they compromise intelligence gathering methods, expose national strategy, and jeopardize the trust that Canadian allies have in intelligence capabilities. As a retired intelligence officer, I can attest that unauthorized leaks are not just violations of policy, but pose a real risk to operational effectiveness, methods, and human sources. When adversaries gain access to sensitive information, they can adapt their strategies to avoid detection, weakening counterintelligence and counterterrorism initiatives. These leaks also complicate relationships with intelligence partners like the Five Eyes, as maintaining trust with allies requires stringent controls over classified information. CSIS's ongoing effort to track intelligence movement across government departments reflect the broader challenge of managing classified information in a time of heightened foreign interference. These investigations could lead to a stronger OPSEC measures across Canadian intelligence agencies, ultimately reinforcing national security. Looking ahead, it is likely that Canada will continue to face scrutiny and pressures to address foreign interference more aggressively. CSIS's investigation serves as a reminder of the importance of strict security protocols, particularly as foreign actors continue to seek new ways to influence democratic processes. Sticking with Canadian national security concerns, we'll be discussing Canada's recent decision to ban TikTok from operating within its borders. Ottawa is citing national security threats posed by the app's data practices and potential links to the Chinese government. While Canadian users can still access and create content on the app, the federal government has ordered TikTok's Canadian offices to shut down, following advice from national security and intelligence experts. I'll break down the implications of this move, the evidence behind Canada's decision, and how this aligns with global concern over TikTok's parent company, ByteDance. Innovation Minister François-Philippe Champagne announced the order for TikTok to wind down its 2 Canadian offices, stating the activities conducted by the companies posed a potential threat to national security. The move follows national security review under the Investment Canada Act, which evaluates foreign investments that could harm Canada's security. Champagne stressed that while TikTok offices in Toronto and Vancouver will close, Canadians will still have access to the app, though he advised that users should approach it with eyes wide open. This decision aligns with warnings from Canadian intelligence agencies, which have flagged TikTok's data collection methods as potential risk. This decision aligns with warnings from Canada's intelligence agencies, which have flagged TikTok's data collection methods as a potential risk, particularly concerning the possibility of data accessed by the Chinese government. CSIS has cautioned users, especially young Canadians, to be mindful of these risks, highlighting TikTok's extensive data gathering and its potential long-term impact on privacy. In response to Canada's order, TikTok announced plans to legally challenge the decision, arguing that the closure of Canadian offices will lead to job losses and that it has been in compliance with Canadian data protection laws. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, has consistently maintained that users' data is stored outside of China and is not accessible by the Chinese government. However, many Western experts remain skeptical, pointing to China's national security laws, which compel companies to cooperate with government intelligence gathering. The US has taken similar steps to limit TikTok's influence, banning the app from government devices and considering broader restrictions due to concerns over ByteDance's ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Canadian officials are now following suit, especially as TikTok's presence continues to expand among younger audiences who may not fully be aware of the security implications. This move by Canada adds to mounting global scrutiny of TikTok, the Western governments increasingly wary of foreign-controlled social media platforms. Canada's national security community has expressed growing concern over foreign influence tactics embedded in popular platforms, with former CSIS director David Vigneault specifically warning about data collection risk tied to TikTok. The app's data policies have led to fears that even seemingly harmless user data could eventually be leveraged by foreign actors in future intelligence operations. The Canadian government has also closed Chinese consulates and limited Chinese diplomats' activities over suspected foreign interference, demonstrating its firm stance on defending Canadian data, privacy, and national security. For Canadians, this serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding the risks behind everyday apps in an era of heightened digital espionage and information warfare. For our next story, we're changing our focus to China's Ministry of State Security, or the MSS, and its efforts to crack down on foreign espionage. The article follows a recent case involving attempted smuggling of gallium, a rare strategic metal essential for advanced military technology. This case underscores China's increasing emphasis on securing its critical resources and controlling access to sensitive material amid rising global tensions over technology and military advancements. The Chinese Ministry of State Security reported that a tip-off led to an investigation preventing gallium, a component in advanced radar systems, from being smuggled out of the country. According to the MSS, a foreign national identified as Du attempted to transport gallium out of China at the request of Tang, an employee of the Chinese metal company. Tang admitted that another foreign national had promised a substantial payment if he could procure and export gallium, despite knowing the metal is controlled under Chinese export restrictions. This incident highlights China's vigilance over strategic materials like gallium and germanium, both recently placed on export control lists due to their critical role in military and high-tech applications. China's crackdown on smuggling reflects its concern over potential foreign interference aimed at accessing and leveraging its valuable resources for technological gains. By tightening restrictions, China seeks to prevent foreign entities from acquiring materials that could be used against its strategic interests. The attempted smuggling case involving gallium reflects growing global competition for rare and strategic resources. Gallium, in particular, is vital for manufacturing semiconductors, military radar units, and other advanced technologies, making it a highly sought-after commodity worldwide. China is one of the world's largest suppliers of gallium and germanium, and exports control on these materials are part of a broader strategy to maintain technological leverage over other nations, especially as geopolitical tensions rise. From a national security standpoint, China's increased control over strategic materials aligns with a pattern seen in many countries attempting to protect key resources. This approach isn't unique to China. The US and other nations have also imposed export restrictions on sensitive technologies and critical minerals, signaling a shared global trend of resource nationalism. China has a rich deposit of natural resources such as gallium and germanium, and it's not surprising that there are likely many Chinese-owned and run mining companies looking to extract this resource, export it, and use it to advance military goals. The Ivanhoe Mining Company is a state-run China investment corporation based in Vancouver, British Columbia. It wouldn't be surprising if among its vast mining operations, gallium and germanium are sought-after resources for export to China. The question is whether Canada's private industry and national security agencies are aware of this issue and what they're doing about it. As countries seek to secure their technological and defensive capabilities, incidences like this underscore the potential for espionage or illicit trade activities targeting high-value resources. Security analysts view the case as a sign of China's heightened counter-espionage efforts to guard its resources from foreign influence. By emphasizing the importance of domestic resources like gallium, China aims to deter attempts at smuggling by holding individuals accountable, both Chinese nationals and foreign agents alike. However, some experts argue that this strict approach could have diplomatic consequences, potentially straining China's trade relationships and intensifying global supply chain challenges. From an intelligence perspective, I see China's response as part of a global trend towards securing resources critical for defense and technology. Still, these controls may also escalate the demand for alternative sources, prompting other countries to explore domestic supplies of these rare metals. China's recent espionage crackdown illustrates its commitment to protecting strategic resources from foreign acquisition, especially those critical to its defense capabilities. With gallium and germanium now under tighter control, China's Ministry of State Security has sent a clear message about the importance of securing these assets. As global competition for rare materials continues to grow, cases like these may become more frequent, with significant implications for international trade and security. Our next story brings us to France, where we're looking at the opening of a significant terrorism trial. In Paris, there are 8 individuals facing charges connected to the 2020 murder of Samuel Paty, a teacher killed by an extremist after showing caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad and a lesson on freedom of expression. This horrific act shocked France and brought issues of religious extremism, freedom of expression, and social media's influence on radicalization into the spotlight. We'll explore the details of the trials, the events leading up to Paty's death, and what the case means for French society. The tragic killing of Samuel Paty unfolded in October 2020, when an 18-year-old extremist murdered the teacher outside his school near Paris. The assailant, Abdelhaki Anzorov, carried out the attack after seeing an online campaign accusing Paty of disrespecting Islam by showing caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad during a class on freedom of expression. Following the attack, police fatally shot Anzorov as he charged at them. Now 8 individuals stand trial, facing various charges tied to Anzorov's actions. Among them are friends who allegedly assisted with weapons, as well as people accused of spreading false information online about Paty and his class, which is believed to have fueled the online backlash. The most prominent figures on trial are Brahim China, the father of the student who falsely claimed that Paty had excluded her from the class for being Muslim, and Abdelhakim Sarifu, a known agitator and founder of the non-dissolved Cheikh Yassine Collective, who supported the online campaign against Paty. Both Sheena and Sarifoui faced 30 years in prison if convicted. Paty's murder became a turning point in France, with the government vowing to defend its secular values and protect freedom of expression. The attack came amid heightened tensions following Charlie Hebdo's decision to republish the controversial caricatures to mark the trial of those involved in the 2015 attacks in the newsroom. This case reignited debates around France's secularism, freedom of speech, and how to counter religious extremism while respecting individual rights. The trial also sheds lights on the role of social media in radicalization and the spread of misinformation. Sheena's accusation against Paty, later proven false, fueled an online campaign that quickly escalated into a call for violence. Investigators have revealed that Anzorovs discovered Paty's name and location through jihadist social media channels, and that some of the defendants shared extremist content or communicated in pro-jihadi groups on platforms such as Snapchat. Experts emphasize the importance of addressing radicalization that both occurs online and offline. The spread of false information in this case, combined with the impact of social media channels that provide extremist content, highlights a complex challenge in countering violent extremism. Terrorism analysts also stress that cases like Paty's underscores the danger of using religious beliefs to justify acts of violence against individuals who practice freedom of expression. As a former intelligence officer, I see this trial as a critical moment for France in confronting how extremist ideologies exploit social tensions to provoke violence. This case reminds us of the importance of safeguarding democratic freedoms while combating the spread of hateful ideologies that encourage violence. The Paris trial for Samuel Paty's murder represents a crucial step in holding those involved accountable and reaffirms France's stance on protecting freedom of expression. As the court proceedings unfold, the case continues to spotlight the complex relationship between social media, radicalization, and democratic values. We continue looking to Europe for our next story, where we'll be looking at a suspected Russian plot involving incendiary devices found in packages shipped from Lithuania. These devices, one of which caught fire on the ground in Germany, were believed to have been part of a sabotage plot. There are concerns that this operation was a test run for similar attacks targeting the United States and Canada. The plot revolves around incendiary devices hidden within packages, reportedly disguised within items like massage pillows and even adult gadgets. One package ignited in Leipzig, Germany, while another caught fire at a DHL warehouse in Birmingham, UK. The devices were believed to contain magnesium, a substance that burns with intense heat and is incredibly difficult to extinguish with conventional methods. From an intelligence perspective, this plot is concerning on multiple levels. First, use of incendiary devices highlights the evolving tactics used by state actors or their proxies in destabilizing the West. Second, the possibility that this is a dry run to test the effectiveness of these methods before deploying them in North America is a troubling reminder of the lengths adversary states may go to undermine Western security. This story illustrates the potential for adversaries to adapt and innovate their strategies, looking for new weaknesses in security protocols across different countries. Incidences like this are part of a broader pattern of Russian interference in Europe and the West. Over the past years, there have been numerous attempts at sabotage, cyber attacks, and disinformation campaigns linked to Russia, often conducted in retaliation for Western support to Ukraine. Russian intelligence agencies, particularly the GRU, have been accused of carrying out similar operations to generate mayhem and create instability. The UK and its allies are aware of these attacks. Last month, Ken McCallum, the head of the MI5, warned that the GRU was on a sustained mission to generate mayhem in the UK and Europe, citing incidences of arson, sabotage, and other disruptive activities. German authorities also voiced their concern, indicating that had the Lipson package ignited during flight, it could have resulted in a catastrophic crash. This plot has drawn the attention of counterterrorism and intelligence agencies across Europe. German authorities also voiced their concerns, indicating that had the Lipson package ignited during flight, it could have resulted in a catastrophic crash. This plot has drawn the attention of counterterrorism and intelligence agencies across Europe. German intelligence chief testified that these packages posed a direct threat to public safety, accusing the Kremlin's intelligence services of recklessly endangering lives. His statements echoed McCallum's concerns about the GRU's role in promoting instability. From my own perspective, this case shows a growing sophistication in sabotage attacks. The use of incendiary materials such as magnesium indicates a willingness to bypass traditional explosives and instead rely on highly flammable substances that can evade standard detection methods. These attacks also serve as a signal, possibly meant to intimidate Western governments and their citizens by highlighting vulnerabilities in civilian infrastructures and logistics systems. The recent incidences in Germany, the UK, and Poland serve as stark reminders of the lengths to which adversaries like Russia might go in attempting to disrupt Western society. By testing these incendiary packages in Europe, they may also be preparing for similar operations in North America. Intelligence agencies and law enforcement will need to stay vigilant, tracking any similar threats that could be directed towards US and Canada. Looking ahead, it's likely we'll see even more creative attempts to bypass traditional security measures. This story reminds us of the importance of strengthening global cooperation in intelligence and counterterrorism to prevent such plots from endangering citizens and infrastructure. Sticking with this alarming case of sabotage and its implications beyond Europe that will likely affect the United States and Canada. Authorities in Germany, Poland, and the UK are investigating fires set off by packages designed as incendiary devices suspected to be the work of Russia's GRU military intelligence. These devices, targeted within ordinary parcels, appear to have been test runs intended to target cargo flights bound for the US and Canada. Lithuanian officials, including the president's advisors, have publicly accused Russia's GRU intelligence agency of orchestrating a plot to place incendiary devices on civilian cargo planes destined for North America. These suspicions arose after a device ignited at a DHL depot in Leipzig, Germany, revealing a potential plan to cause fires on US and Canada-bound flights. A European official described the devices as a massager filled with magnesium incendiary mix, a dangerous material that's extremely challenging to extinguish, especially during mid-flight. Lithuania has already called for NATO to respond to these provocations, emphasizing that they're part of Moscow's hybrid warfare tactics. The Lithuanian prosecutor confirmed that several packages traced back to Lithuania have been seized and multiple arrests have been made as part of an ongoing international investigation. The July incidents have prompted counterterrorism police across the UK, Germany, and Poland to investigate similar fires involving cargo shipments. British intelligence has labeled these actions as reckless sabotage on Russian agents' parts, adding that Russia's campaign appears to be targeting NATO allies supporting Ukraine. Germany's domestic intelligence agency confirmed that it was pure luck that the incendiary package at the Leipzig airport did not ignite in mid-flight, highlighting the potential catastrophe of a successful detonation would pose. To counter the ongoing risk, DHL and other logistical providers have enhanced their security protocols, and the U.S. Transportation Security Administration has increased scrutiny on U.S.-bound cargo from European carriers. Although there's no current active threat to U.S. flights, Western intelligence agencies are monitoring for future incidences. Poland has taken a hard stance on Russian interference, threatening to expel a Russian ambassador and shutting down a Russian consulate in Poznan in response to the alleged sabotage. Moscow, however, denies these accusations, with the foreign ministry condemning Poland's actions as hostile. Despite Russia's denial, this series of incidents has strengthened Western resolve to counter Moscow's influence operations. With more evidence surfacing of Russia's covert operations in Europe, NATO and other Western security agencies are treating this as a systematic campaign. Whether or not these test runs continue, the threat remains real for nations backing Ukraine in the ongoing war. For our final story, we're exploring an emerging alliance in the East that has Western intelligence agencies on high alert. The article we're looking at is entitled Australian Spy Chief Says West Faces New Russia, China, Iran, and North Korean Axis. It's highlighted warnings by Andrew Shearer, Australia's Director General of the Office of National Intelligence, about a troubling coalition forming between Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, and the rest struggle to disrupt it. The article points out how these four nations, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, are aligning to support Russia's efforts in Ukraine, both strategically and militarily. This coalition, with China and Russia at its core, is now viewed as a profoundly troubling strategic development. Shearer emphasizes that China's economic and dual-use support has been critical in sustaining Putin's military campaign. From an intelligence perspective, the emerging axis presents a monumental challenge, as it enables sustained aggression in Ukraine while fostering broader military and economic cooperation that strengthens these nations against the Western influence. For Western allies, including Five Eyes and G7 nations, these developments demand urgent strategies to curb the growing influence and reach of this axis. Historically, alliances like this have always had significant ramifications. During the Cold War, for example, the Soviet Union and its allies were in constant opposition to Western nations. The emerging coalition is reminiscent of that era, with Russia and China once again assuming certain roles. The emerging coalition is reminiscent of that era, with Russia and China once again assuming certain roles. But now, with North Korean troops reportedly involved and Iran providing drones, this partnership signals a modern-day resurgence of ideological blocs and a deepening rift in global security dynamics. Shearer's insights from the conference in Canberra were clear. China's support to Russia isn't just diplomatic, but it also involves dual-use assistance that is just as impactful as artillery ammunition. Additionally, Iran and North Korea's involvement, from missiles to troops, represents a dangerous expansion in the conflict in Ukraine. As an intelligence professional, I view Shearer's statements as a call for a more proactive approach. Intelligence agencies worldwide will need to focus on understanding, monitoring, and ultimately disrupting these support networks. For the West, this will likely mean ramping up intelligence sharing, sanctions, and possibly deploying cybersecurity measures to weaken this coalition support structure. We're witnessing the rise of a new power bloc where Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea seem committed to supporting each other's strategic goals, often in direct opposition to Western interests. This cooperation could herald an era of intensified regional conflicts and instability in multiple theaters. Moving forward, we can expect the West to invest heavily in intelligence, cybersecurity, and countermeasures to address this coalition. That's it for this week. I want to congratulate @SupGirlCanada for providing a question in the comments. Your Global Intelligence Knowledge Network baseball cap is in the mail. If any other listeners want to be randomly chosen to receive a Gickin gift, just leave a question or a comment about one of this week's intelligence insights. Monday is Remembrance Day in Canada, and as we commemorate all of the men and women who fought and fight to keep our country strong and free, I just want everyone to please take a moment on Monday to remember their efforts and sacrifices. As always, all of these stories discussed and their links are in the show notes. Have a safe week, and I'll see you back here next Friday. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.
Thank you for tuning into this week's Global Intelligence Weekly Wrap-Up. Each episode is crafted with in-depth research and professional analysis to bring you timely updates on the ever-evolving world of intelligence, espionage, foreign interference, and global security. We're committed to keeping you informed and prepared in a complex world. And if today's insights were valuable to you, please consider leaving a comment, liking, and sharing this episode with others. Your engagement helps us reach a broader audience, allowing us to continue delivering expert intelligence insights every week. As Neil always says, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe. And if you're looking for even more resources, visit our website, the Global Intelligence Knowledge Network, for a deeper dive into intelligence topics, articles, and expert commentary. We look forward to bringing you more essential analysis next week. Thank you for being part of our community of engaged, informed listeners.